This is an Aston Martin Vanquish. It's a Grand Tourer and has a big engine. It's what happens when you decide you want to treat yourself after a lifetime of hard work. It's a slice of luxury to get you to and from your destination of choice. And choice is what we're talking about today. A cynic or a conspiracy theorist may say that choice is an illusion and other such nonsense, but when you've got the thick end of 200 grand in your pocket, you can choose pretty much anything or any car you want, unless of course it costs more than 200 grand. The Vanquish offers plenty of choice. There's colour, trim, toys, all the usual stuff, but it's what you choose to do with it that matters most. You see, this car's party piece is its 6-litre V12. It kicks out 568 brake horsepower and 456 pound-foot. It'll crack 200 miles an hour if you've got the space, and you'll get from 0 to 62 in 3.8 seconds. And that makes it the quickest accelerating full production car Aston has ever made. Which means there's potential for a lot of silliness indeed. Now, when this generation of Vanquish launched, it had a different gearbox, but Aston changed it for an 8-speed ZF, and it's unlocked the car, giving it a shade more mental, and it's also upped the MPG. Aston says it'll do 31 miles to the gallon on the motorway, and I can safely say that it does do that. It even did 32, and then I accelerated back up to 70 miles an hour, and it plummeted, but still, progress. Which of course you could choose to do. You could drive this 6-litre V12 monster slowly along the motorway to your heart's content, or you could take a moment to sit back and think about just what you're doing. This is a special bit of kit. It's a carbon fibre beastie. Now, Aston hasn't done that simply because it's the done thing. They've done it obviously to save weight, but there's some brilliant details within it. Take the boot lid and spoiler combo. It's a single piece. Do you have any idea how complicated that is to make out of carbon fibre? But Aston, keen to push the game forward, went and did it, and it's beautiful. It's less a boot lid and more a work of art. In reality, it's not just that. The whole car is stunning. The first Vanquish is the car that really switched me onto Aston Martin, if I'm honest. The DB5 did some of the work, obviously, but that Vanquish, man, it was such a good-looking car. This one is much the same. It's beautiful to look at and to be in. On the rare occasion I see one in town, I can't help but give it an extra long ogle from the pavement. Much the same with this one. As an experience, an Aston Martin is unlike pretty much anything else to drive because it's so smooth and so elegant and so beautiful and so very, very British. But they insist on shoving their massive V12 in just about everything, which means it's awesome, and the soundtrack that goes along with the smoothness and the wonderfulness and the beautifulness and the design and all the brilliance is epic. Noise aside, this has a lot of power, as I mentioned earlier, and it's not shy about it. It flies down the road, it pushes you back, it gets from 0 to 60. I know it's claimed in under 4 seconds, but it feels so much faster than that. You're pushed in your seat so hard and you cling on, and just the world goes all blurry. One of the things about this car that is absolutely fantastic is the gearbox. Now, I know I've had beef with Aston's gearboxes in the past. The V12 Vantage S Roadster being the last one. I think that's one of the least pleasant gearboxes I've ever used because it just doesn't know what it's doing. This, however, because it's from ZF and they know how to make gearboxes, is sublime. It changes seamlessly, smoothly, quietly. No, it's not all double clutch megariness, but it just does its thing. The Vanquish's interior, as one would expect from a handmade British sports car, is lovely. The thing I really like about it though is all this touch screen in the middle. It's got a little bit of haptic feedback, so when you touch it, it vibrates a bit. The UI with all the infotainment stuff, is really, really nice. Now, it might not be as modern as something, say, you get on a Porsche or an Audi, but at the same time, it does its job really nicely. My favourite detail is the sport and suspension buttons are on the steering wheel now, so if you're, say, mid-corner and decide you want to make some noise, press the sport button. If you want to adjust the suspension, press the suspension button. I mean, honestly, there's very little about this car that I would change. The interior is a little bit dark for me, but that is genuinely it. It feels good, the gearbox is great, the brakes are fantastic, and it is ferociously fast. There is another thing, actually, I'm not a huge fan of. Even though this is a massive car, the visibility isn't fantastic. The bonnet's very long and also very low, so it kind of drops off. The windscreen itself is quite small, so you can't really see when you're nosing it in. I imagine that comes with practice. Choice. What can you do with it aside from gorp at it yourself driving it, and listen to its engine? The glory of the Vanquish and big GTs like it is the amount of choice you have with them. You can use it as a daily driver, you could even take it to IKEA and, well, maybe not get a wardrobe, but a small bedside table and some dime bars and some jam. Or you can cross a country in it, or just simply go to the shops and get a pint of milk. But that's not all. Because this is a handmade car, you can have all manner of stuff done to it from the get-go. Want a custom colour? Go ahead. What about a funky interior? Feel free. Just don't try and sell a pink and green combo onto anyone. That is yours for keeps. Should you wish to do something a little more extreme with your Aston Martin, there is the Works and Q divisions. Now, the sky really is the limit with those guys. So long as it'll fit in the car, they'll do it for you. For example, there was a chap with a Rapide who wanted a custom suit rack in the back, so they made it for him. You want it, it'll fit, they'll do it. When a man cannot choose, he ceases to be a man. That's what Anthony Burgess said in A Clockwork Orange. Over the course of a life, you'll have to make many choices, high road or low, take the job, don't take the job, foot down or lift off. Choose wisely and you'll be able to see some incredible things in some amazing places. And make sure you pick something awesome to take you on that journey, because after all, you don't want to choose a boring life, do you?